Hello Bournemouth fans, and it's round 2 in the Championship as AFC Bournemouth's on the road for the first time this season as we take on Nottingham Forest at the City Ground on Saturday. In this latest video, I'll be putting an AFC Bournemouth fan in the hot seat for the 5-minute preview, and we'll also get a Forest perspective as well. But if you're new to this channel and you want to help us in our continuous growth, why don't you hit that subscribe button? We'll really appreciate it. Also hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single video. And for cherry on the top, give us a thumbs up, hit that like. So AFC Bournemouth 7th take on Nottingham Forest 20th. And in this fixture last season at the City Ground, it was an uneventful 0-0 draw. In the last 6 games of head-to-heads between the teams, it's evenly split, 50-50 down the middle, 2 wins, 2 draws and 2 losses for each team. Your stat for this game is that it looks like AFC Bournemouth have never won at the City Ground. What do you make of that? I have Kaye standing by. He's going to take on the 5-minute preview.
Are you ready to take on the 5-minute preview?
I am indeed. Let's bring it on.
What did you make of both teams' previous results?
Well, starting with Bournemouth, obviously, I think we'll all be pretty pleased with that result against West Bromwich Albion. Potentially one of the strongest teams we'll face all season, with most of their players available. I think we've said before that we certainly fancy them for top 2, if not being champions. And obviously we played them with arguably what could be our weakest squad of the season, with so many players out, either injured, unavailable, ill, or suspended for various reasons. So I look back at the game and I think we would all settle for a draw before the game. Obviously we took the lead twice, but then equalising quite soon after. I think we'll be delighted with that result and getting our first point on the board. And obviously the 2 days after, Nottingham Forest played away at Coventry. Coventry's first game back in their new stadium for 2 years, I believe. And obviously they took the lead and then perhaps sat on it and ended up losing the game. And so obviously a poor start for Nottingham Forest. You know, a last-minute winner for Coventry is always difficult to take. So yeah, obviously confidence won't be particularly high for them, and a poor result, a poor start.
How will AFC Bournemouth approach this game?
Yeah, I think we'll approach the game in much the same way. I think we'll certainly have that pressing and intensity. I don't expect Nottingham Forest to press us certainly as well or in any way the same way that West Bromwich Albion did. So we'll be able to impose that press on Nottingham Forest ourselves. So we'll certainly go there to win. Don't think we'll be going there for any other result, or certainly sitting on that. And that intensity and that sort of formation that Scott Parker likes to play certainly will be in evidence again. And I certainly think we'll be going there, taking the game to them, and trying to get in behind them, playing with some width, and as I said, that intensity really, and looking to get our first victory onto the board.
What threat do the opposition hold in this game?
Well, we could see against Coventry, for those who watched the game, but Nottingham Forest were quite quick on the break. They got some good players down their flanks, and obviously Lyle Taylor scored their goal for them. But as Chris Hughton's teams invariably do, they then sat on the lead. Lots of fans who used to watch Brighton would say the same about Hughton's teams. They're hard to break down, but they don't score that many goals. And it came back to bite them. They took Lyle Taylor off, put a defensive midfielder on, and ended up losing the game. Having said that, I do think they might have some players available again. I believe Lewis Grabban is out of isolation, and obviously Cherries will be back in their forward line alongside Lyle Taylor. And obviously they're always a threat. They've got speed, they've got good awareness, good movement. I've always been a fan of Lolly, sort of a really good creative midfielder. And also a lot depends on whether a couple of their players are back from injury. I think Joe Worrell is one of their best defenders, who was out against Coventry. I believe he's got a calf problem. So hopefully for us, he won't make it. I just saw that Gaten Bong is suspended. However, they did just bring in on loan, Osei Tutu from Arsenal, who was at Cardiff last season, and if they can keep him fit, he'll be a threat. I think he's coming as a fullback, but he can play winger, and he's very, very, very quick. So obviously that's not great news for us coming in. But I think what they'll do is, obviously at home, they'll want to impose themselves in front of their supporters, especially after their loss of Coventry. First game in front of supporters, as for all clubs for a long time. So I'm sure they'll be really going at it. But I also do think that they'll be potentially looking more to sort of sit in and then hit us on the break and let us have the ball. That kind of the way that Houghton maybe sets up. So I think we'll have a lot of possession, but they will certainly give us a threat on the break.
Who will be AFC Bournemouth key player in this game?
Well, I think you can make a case for obviously any number of our players in key positions, but I'm actually going to go for David Brooks for this game. By his own pre-season standards, he didn't have his best game against West Brom. There are other players who perform better than him, but I do maintain that he's looking sharp, he's looking hungry. I think it seems like he really wants to be there this season, and bought into what Scott Parker has brought to the table. And I do see that David Brooks, if you keep him fit, that he could be the best player in the Championship, and someone for us who, if we do lose certain other players, will be key to us in so many games. So I think I'm looking for him, certainly away from home, if he can get the ball and isolate that they got problems at left back, as I've already mentioned. If he can get at those players and create, I really do think that he could be the key player in this game. Another key player, I think, will be Gavin Kilkenny at that pivot. Again, perform admirably against West Bromwich Albion. What he's got to do now is do that consistently, certainly while other players are still out. So I think, again, he'll be a key player in this game. But him and David Brooks for me.
What's your AFC Bournemouth predicted starting lineup?
I don't think there'll be too many changes, if any, from the West Bromwich Albion game. I think it'll be the same 11. The only question mark will be if Leif Davis is fit after his knock. He might come in for Jordan Zamora, or Jack Stacey again might come in and Adam Smith shuffle across the left back. But other than that left back position, I think it'll be the same 11 as played against West Bromwich Albion.
What's your score prediction?
I think we will nick this game. I think we will concede. I do still have slight question marks over Mark Chavez, and defensively able to defend set pieces, our defence collectively. So I do think we will concede. We've always got a concession in us. However, I do think we're going to have too much. Having watched the game against Coventry, who actually did play very well, really got in behind Nottingham Forest quite a few times, causing endless amounts of problems. And I think we've got better players in Coventry. So I fully expect us to win the game, but I think it'll be tight. So I am going for a 2-1 victory for Bournemouth.
That was Aaron Kaye there with his attempt at the 5-minute match preview. It doesn't really matter if it goes over. If he failed this time, he'll succeed next time. But what did you think of Aaron Kaye's views on this fixture and that predicted 11? Let us know in the comments if you agree or disagree. Now we're going to get a Forest perspective from Rish, 1865, the Nottingham Forest Podcast. What does he think about this fixture?
Hello there, my name's Rish. I'm also known as Rich Ferraro, and I host the 1865 Nottingham Forest Podcast. Now, everyone knows that Forest had a terrible time last season, and most people will remember that was a hangover from the appalling lockdown period we had under Sabri Lamouchi, in which our playoff push absolutely crumbled. Now, there's still a hangover going on, but it's a different type of hangover. This is from trying to dismantle the squad. We've got a new chief executive and we've got the same manager, and he's trying to reduce the squad size, trying to reduce the wage bill, and the trouble is, then add to that COVID disruptions in terms of finances and also pre-season, and we've not had a brilliant start. So at the weekend we lost against Coventry. Now, there was lots of reasons for Coventry City fans to be uplifted. They were paying tribute to one of their famous sons. They were back in their home ground for the first time in 2.5 years. They had the return of one of their young players who's coming back from his third ACL injury, and all of that combined to make the crowd really lift up the Sky Blues. And of course they equalised with 10 minutes to go, and they got the winner deep into stoppage time, which was crushing for Forest, but obviously you can imagine the home fans were delighted. Now, What that proves is that Forest aren't there yet. Now the question being, was that down to the manager or was that down to the players running out of steam? Lots of fans blaming the manager. Chris Hughton is not a popular man around certain parts of Nottingham. But because of the COVID disruptions, we had our last 2 pre-season friendlies against Premier League opposition. Those were both cancelled, and you could see the players just didn't have the legs. They just ran out of steam after about 65, 70 minutes. Now this leads us to the squad. Like many other Championship teams, we are down to the bare bones. Joe Worrell is out injured, and his replacement at centre-back, Loic Mbeso, he's also out now for a few weeks. And so we've got 2 really good centre-halves who are highly rated, highly valued in the transfer market, and they're not available. We also have only 1 left back at the club, and he's been told he can go and find a new club. And yet Gaetan Bong had to be in the team on Sunday because we had no one else. When Lyle Taylor came off with cramp, our only option was to put on Cafu, who's a midfielder, a number 8, and we had to ask Brennan Johnson to push forward. So we don't have many options at the moment. We've made 2 signings, a goalkeeper. We already have a goalkeeper, of course, Brice Samba, but we've signed Ethan Horvath, who's a young American international. And we've just signed last night Jordi Osei-Tutu, a right-back from Arsenal who's got experience in the Bundesliga. Now, with Bournemouth, I've never quite understood the cult of Scott Parker. I mean, he did well to get Fulham promoted, but he did that with a big budget and lots of big-name players. And then he alienated loads of those players who got him promoted when he was in the Premier League. So I'm not sure. However, Bournemouth they do have some parallels to Fulham in that season, and that you've got a strong squad compared to other Championship teams especially given that COVID has affected so many other clubs' budgets. Attacking power is really important in this division as well. So I think you'll have a good season and you will definitely be there or thereabouts at the end of it. And therefore it's hard to see Forest winning at the weekend. Our wild card is the pace and trickery of Brennan Johnson and Alex Myton, but I just can't see us scoring enough goals throughout the season, or indeed on Saturday, to be massively successful. And that's despite having the home crowd back. Forest, when they are a 12th man, our crowd are amazing, but when things aren't going well, they get on the players' backs. I'm going for 2-0 to Bournemouth on this Saturday.
That was Rish from the 1865 to Nottingham Forest podcast and his thoughts ahead of this game. Do you agree? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Also, hit that subscribe button and give us a like. Thank you to those supporters who have currently donated towards the channel. If you wish to donate, you can simply go to buymeacoffee.com/cherriesredami. That's your preview for Nottingham Forest versus Bournemouth. Until the next video, we'll see you soon. Up the cherries.